Hey, I'm back. This is Chandler for Melder Production, and today I'm going to show you how you can make sequences using MRhythmSizer. This can be used to give some type of interesting flavor to pads, to do some interesting time-related things with percussion, etc. So let's get started. Right here we have MRhythmSizer. If you open it up like this, you see there's nothing in any of these boxes, so we want to change that. So instead of default, I'm going to go to general, like this. And now you see each of these is filled with a different pattern. Now this is great, and let me just play it first with nothing on here, so you can hear this chord sequence. Okay. But now, if I, let's say, go to the volume and I set this as 16th notes, or I can do 16th note triplets, or I can even use one of these, which is more advanced. This is like a transgate, so let's try something like this. And so as you can see here, there's lots of different patterns, and if you're wondering, hey, can I make these myself? You actually can. So if you right click it, you see there's lots of different ways to do this. And if you want a more basic tutorial, let me know and I'll make one for MRhythmSizer. But today I want to show you how you can actually sequence these. And now, of course, you can use a separate MIDI track and trigger these using a keyboard. But let's say you don't want to do that. You just want these to play over and over automatically, like a sequence of 4. So it's hard to do it using the mod here, because if I just click this and do something like this, of course it'll record sequence volume. And if I turn this on, all that's going to happen is it's going to move through these various patterns. I have it set at 24. Let's try 1. So now you see it's moving between these, but what if I don't want to use these first 4 or 5? What if I want to use first transgate 11, then transgate 3, then triplet or gate triplet 8? So there's a way to do that, and I'll show you how in just a second. Let me turn this off first. So the first thing we need to do is hook up a modulator. So let's just name this sequence. And I don't need to go out. What I want to do is I want to choose which of these I want. But first, let me set up the parameters. So if I go into global, I look all the way at the bottom here. I have sequence time, volume, and filter. I'm going to click this, and then I'm going to hold shift and then click down here. So all 3 of these are highlighted. Just makes it easier. And the very important part here is I'm going to go to banks like this. Okay? So now I have this set up, and I'm just going to name these 1, 2, and 3, just so it's easy for me to see which sequence is playing. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you can do more if you want. Like you see here, I could do up to 128, but I don't need that many. I just need 4. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to some of these and find which one I like. Okay, so I like this gate 16. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this and see this icon. It looks like a save icon. I'm just going to click that. And that is number 7 here in the volume. So it highlights that for me. So this is probably the easiest way. Now what I want to do is I want to go back here. It's very important. Now in the filter here, one thing you should do is you need to enable the filter like this. And now since this is at the bottom, you won't hear anything if the low pass is on, or actually it'll just sound muffled. So I want to bring this all the way up for the C7. Now I can look in here and do the exact same thing. Let's see how these sound. Now for these, don't forget to adjust these. I'm going to move this high pass down a little bit. might want to move the low pass down a little bit more just so it's going a little bit lower. I like that pattern 1, so I'm going to do the exact same thing. Make sure all the other ones are at C at the very first slot. Now I'm going to go into sequence again in the second one, click save again. Okay. Let's try another one, move this back, and now let's listen. Okay, I like that one. I'm going to do the exact same thing for the third one. And let's do another one. Maybe one out of the time selection. So let's see how these sound. Okay, let's try that. That one seems alright. So now save this. Okay, so now we have our 4 here hooked up to a modulator. Another thing I want to make sure is I'm not interpolating the values. So make sure all of these are off. Now play it and you can slide this back and forth and see how they sound. And also I'm going to change this to bank name just so I can see which sequence it is. 1, 2, 3, or 4. So let's play it and mess around with this. So now I have this sequence, and now you're wondering, okay, well I have this, but I want it to move by itself. I don't want to have to, move my mouse back and forth. And we can do that by clicking Mod 1 here. Click Clear and Learn. Okay, now everything should be recorded in here. And I have a sine wave, so let's try a step sequencer instead. So I move this over, and it looks like a mess. I don't want that many steps. So let's try 4 steps, like this. And so I'll hit OK. Actually, first let's look at this. So here, this will be pattern 0. If I move this here, this should be pattern 3, I believe. Or actually, probably around pattern 2. Let's move this all the way up to the last pattern. And let's move this down here. So this should be, let me see, 1, be pattern 2. I guess that's 3 and 4. So now that we have this, click OK. And if I set this at 4, now every single beat it's going to, I'm sorry, every single 4 bars every single bar it's going to change. I'm confusing myself. So let's listen to this, turn it on. So as you can see, it's switching between the various patterns. And of course, you can mix this up by changing the sequence. Here, it's actually starting in the middle, like around here, actually around 25%, because I have the phase at 90, but I can start that at 0. And also, I have this set at 1 bar at 4. So if I set this for 1, now every quarter note, it's going to change. So let's listen to that. That's a bit too fast for me. I'm probably going to change this to 2 here. So now every half note it's going to change. Let's see how this sounds. So now I think you get the idea of how to do this. Now, of course, I could add more if I wanted to, so I could do a longer sequence. Instead of 4, I could add 8 or 10 or 16 or whatever I want. And also here in the length, I can make this shorter or longer if I like. And also I can adjust this and speed it up and slow it down. So there's lots of different possibilities here, along with creating your own patterns if you want. So it's really, really versatile, and you can make all sorts of different patterns. So if you have any other questions, or you'd like me to do a simpler and more basic version of this, talking about how to use MRhythmSizer, let me know down below. But until next time, make sure you check out all the other plugins at meldaproduction.com, and until then, see you.